Okay. All right. Good morning. Sorry. Took me a minute to get everything up and rolling this morning. Okay. Good deal. All right. So in order to multitask and do attendance really quick, plus give everybody just a minute if we still have a few stragglers to make sure everybody is getting on okay. Okay, all right, so let me do just a couple of quick announcements slash reminders, make sure everybody is okay, and then we'll go ahead and knock out what we've got today. So today we're actually going to finish together your IDs and SQs and finish going over the last section that you'll be quizzed on next week. So the good news is that you can actually go ahead, as soon as we finish today, go ahead and if you've been writing your answers on notebook paper, snap a picture, submit it that way. If you've been doing it on a Google Doc, share it that way. But you can actually be a day ahead and go ahead and get that knocked out. All right. Because I don't think I actually have it due until tomorrow. So anyway, that's good news, right? To be ahead of the game. So we're going to finish up our last section talking about farmers today. Okay. Tomorrow, tomorrow is your 50 states test. It will go live first thing in the morning. You'll see it pop up 8 a.m. If you're up that early, you'll see it pop up that early. So it's actually through a Google form and it's matching. You don't have to know how to spell all the states. You'll have a list to go by, okay? So all you're doing is matching the name of the state with its location, okay? So the good news is that I'm not going to time this one because some people might get it done faster and some people might need more time, and that's okay, all right? So that is the biggest thing for tomorrow. That's why if I were you, I would go ahead and as soon as we finish our IDs together today, I would go ahead and submit it and have that done and not have to worry about that tomorrow and just have tomorrow to do my 50 states test, okay? And it'll grade it and let you know how you did as soon as you finish it, okay? So tomorrow, your 50 states test, and then next week, we'll turn in the packet and you'll turn in your Wild West project. We talked about it yesterday. Remember, you only pick 3 out of the 4 components to do. So as you have time today, tomorrow, and Monday, you don't have to do anything over the weekend unless you want to, but you've got, 5 more days to kind of work on a piece a day and get that done for next Tuesday, and then your first unit test. So on Monday, we'll talk about, if you've never used SchoolNet, we'll talk about how to log on, get in. You'll have to have a username and password. I'll give that to you. Well, I'm not going to do it over Zoom. I will email that to you because obviously you don't want to have everybody else's and anybody have yours. But everybody will have the same class code. So once you log in, it'll ask you for the test code. You'll type in the test code and then you'll knock it out and get it done. Okay. And it's all multiple choice and matching. All right. And that one will grade it too and let you know how you did as soon as you finish that as well. All right. As soon as everybody finishes the quiz on Tuesday, I'll go ahead and start plugging stuff into PowerSchool. So if you have access to PowerSchool, by next Tuesday, you'll already have your first test grade, your first quiz grade, your first project grade, and of course, your first couple of class grades. So I know we feel like this is already moving pretty fast, but we got a lot of stuff to squeeze in a very small amount of time. If you think about it, roughly 150 years worth of history, we're going to squeeze into 18 weeks. That's a lot. Okay. All right. If everybody's good, we're going to go ahead and jump in. But if you think of something, you got a question, throw it in the chat, holler at me. Okay. If not, we're going to get it done. And we're going to move on with our Thursday. All right. No Zoom tomorrow. All right. Enjoy your Zoom free Friday. And just make sure you take care of your US map test. Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's get it done. Here we go. Our last and final section is going to be about farmers. You've only got 3 questions. So we're going to bust out these 3 questions, look at a couple of definitions, and then we'll wrap up on, we're actually looking at 2 pages in your packet today, but they're short and quick. It won't take long. All right, section 2, farmers in the Great Plains. Number 10 wants to know, how did the Homestead Act encourage settlements of the Great Plains? Write this down. Here's your answer. It was an opportunity to own land. That's your answer. Opportunity to own land. And that is a huge deal, because if you are a settler from Germany, from Spain, from Great Britain, all those countries only allowed wealthy upper class nobility to own land. So the idea that not only that you can own land, but that you can own 160 acres. You know, most people's houses are only on maybe an acre of land. Can you imagine owning 160 acres? That's a lot. So that was really exciting. So of course, that opportunity encouraged millions of people to rush out west in order to claim their land. Okay, number 11 says, what technological innovations helped farmers cultivate the plains? And actually, some of this is review. Some of this you might remember from American 1. Remember, John Deere invented the steel plow. So you got the steel plow, you got the mechanical reaper. Cyrus McCormick gave us the mechanical reaper. But here's 2 more. Windmill. And the windmill is going to be a really big deal. All right. Having windmills out west, because there's no trees, it's just wide open spaces. So using wind energy to help us pull water out of those deep wells so that we can have water to feed our animals, water our crops, that's going to be a big deal. So steel plow, mechanical reaper, windmill, and the last one is a seed drill, S-E-E-D. Seed drill, because to reach that rich soil, we actually have to dig deeper into the ground. So we would have these really long seed drills to drill deep into the ground to be able to get to that rich soil. And so that the moisture that's in that soil down there is what our seeds can use to grow, because a lot of times there will be droughts out west. And so, of course, having that moisture-rich soil is going to allow our crops to grow a lot faster out west. Okay, we don't have but a couple of IDs for this section. Well, no, I'll tell you what, there's several actually. All right, Great Plains. You can just put nickname for the Midwest.
You missed number 12.
Uh-oh. Oh, I sure did. I'm sorry. I was jumping along. Okay, my bad. Let me back up. I missed our last question. What challenges did Plains farmers face? Never mind. I got ahead of myself. Okay. I actually said one already, right? Droughts. That's a big one. If anybody doesn't know this already, a nickname for the Great Plains is also Tornado Alley. So tornadoes, windstorms, droughts, blizzards. God bless them. We think North Carolina's weather is insane, but they get it all. They have droughts, and then they have blizzards, and again, tornadoes. And here's a crazy one. You've probably never heard of this one. Swarms of grasshoppers. Yeah, and when I say swarms of grasshoppers, I mean there's so many that the sky looks dark because of this thick cloud of grasshoppers that travel together, and they descend on crops and will eat like hundreds of acres of corn or whatever the crop is and just leave it. You know, it's straight out of the movie, all right, but it's legit. It actually happened. Okay, so my bad. Didn't mean to skip your last question. Okay, so let's go back to Great Plains and make sure everybody got that. Great Plains is just a nickname for the Midwest. Homestead. Homestead is the name for a settler's farm. Nickname for a settler's farm. Dry farming, I talked about that a minute ago, is just digging deeper into the ground to plant the seed. Digging deeper into the ground to plant the seed. And that's going to be a quiz question next week. Is going to talk about dry farming. And dry farming, again, that's where we have to use those seed drills to dig deeper into the ground. Sod buster, that'll be a quiz question. Sod buster is a nickname for farmer. Yeah, our farmers out west are known as sod busters. And here's why. Because you're going to see this as a quiz question and as a question on your packet here in just a second. Farmers and settlers out west are having to use sod, which are just big chunks of dirt held together by grass seeds or grass roots. Because out west, we don't really have a lot of trees. It's wide open spaces. And if we don't have trees to build our houses, we're going to have to figure out something else, right? So we're using these big clumps of dirt held together by grass roots to kind of like using bricks to build your house. You just kind of have to stick it together, and it being out in the hot sun, that dirt will start to get hard and clump together. But here's the bad part, okay? It's not going to be as hard as brick, so stuff can still come in and out of your walls, okay? And this is like a total nightmare situation for me, but this is reality though. That imagine, you know, you're on your nicely padded dirt floor in your sod house, and you wake up one morning and you've got you a nice little rattlesnake that's cuddled up beside of you because it crawled through a hole in your wall. Oh my God, again, total nightmare situation, but that is reality, all right? Because your walls are just made of hard dirt. So, okay, sorry, just thought I'd share that story. And last but not least, number 17, Bonanza Farm, which will actually be a question on your packet here in a minute. Bonanza Farm is a farm with thousands of acres. Farm with thousands of acres. And when I say thousands of acres, I mean like 50,000 acres. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's like, you know, if I owned a Bonanza farm, that would be like combining Randolph County and Guilford County all together just to make up one farm. All right, it's a lot. Okay, it's a lot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone through and done all of your IDs and SQs. Did anybody miss one, or anybody need me to go back over one before we move on? Nope. Okay, all right, fantastic. Let's keep rolling. Okay, so we've got two things to look up and do in your packets before we get ready to move on for today. All right, so the second page in your packet, 11-2, is fill in the blank just like it was yesterday. So it won't take us but a couple minutes to go through these answers. And then there's an activity we're going to do together. Okay, I'm going to call on you guys. We're going to go through and do it together. And it's a good review to make sure that you're getting ready for your quiz next week. Lost my train of thought. Okay. Oh, but let me throw this out there because I saw a question pop up. If you miss any of the Zoom meetings, I record them every day. And if you miss one, or let's say I go too fast and you didn't realize that you missed an answer, go to my YouTube channel and just look up the Zoom call for that day and watch it to get caught up, okay? And if you go inside Google Classroom, go to the classwork tab, and you go all the way to the folder that says class materials or class information. I think it says class information, and it says YouTube channel link. There you go. Click on it. And I would recommend you guys go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That way it's easier for you to find too. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there. Okay. All right, here we go. Guided reading activity 11-2. Again, it's just fill in the blank. And this is a review for today. All right, A says the Great Plains region extends westward to, there's actually 3 blanks for this one. The first blank is Rocky Mountains. So the Great Plains go from the Mississippi River all the way to the Rocky Mountains. So Rocky Mountains is your first answer. From around the 100th meridian, an imaginary line running north and south from the central, here's your second answer, Dakotas. Again, they're not north and south yet. So Dakotas is your second answer. And the third thing you're going to put is Texas. Texas. So the Great Plains is running from the Dakotas up here all the way down to western Texas. Okay. So that should give you 3 answers for number 1. Rocky Mountains, Dakotas, and Texas. All right, B says, for centuries, this open country has been home to vast herds of, what did we say? We hunted almost to the point of extinction on the Great Plains. What's roaming around out there? Somebody throw it at me.
Texas Longhorn.
Buffaloes.
Yes, and not Texas Longhorn isn't wrong, but we're talking about what animal is like naturally grazing out there. And yes, it is the buffalo. The buffalo is your answer for B. So, and remember my fun fact, remember buffalo is not their actual name. They're actually the American bison, but our settlers call them buffalo and the nickname just stuck. All right, C says the government supported settlement in the Great Plains region by passing, quiz question, Homestead Act. That's your answer, but that's also a quiz question for next week. Homestead Act. So the Homestead Act is what is giving settlers 160 acres of land. Now there is some fine print, okay? You do have to be 18 years old. You do have to pay a $10 registration fee. And you do have to live on it for 5 years before they give it to you, because they don't want to give somebody 160 acres of land and you'd be like, I'm out of here, you know, after the first night and your rattlesnake curls up next to your head. I'm just saying that would be a total nightmare situation. Okay. But anyway, all right, sorry, got off track. Let me keep going. All right, D. D says a homesteader could claim up to, I already gave you the answer. How many acres?
160.
160. Yes. The Homestead Act gives you 160 acres of land. Oh, there's 2 blanks on this one. Sorry. 160 acres of land and could receive the title. All right. You get the title to that land. So that's your second blank. Second blank is title. You get the title to the land. All right. E says most of the Plains settlers built their first homes out of, I already gave you this answer. What are we building our houses out of?
Dirt.
Dirt.
It is dirt, but what are we calling those big chunks of dirt?
Sod.
Sod. Yeah, yeah. I heard a couple people say it. Yeah, sod. S-O-D. Sod. Okay. All right. That last section says the wheat belts. A says blank was a method of planting seeds deep in the ground. All right. What did we call it when we're planting seeds deep in the ground? We're having to use our seed drills, remember, to get it deeper in the ground. What do we call that kind of farming?
Dry farming.
Yes, dry farming. Again, that's a quiz question for next week. All right, dry farming, D-R-Y, dry farming. Okay. All right, next, B. Many blank eventually lost their homesteads because of drought, wind erosion, overuse of land. The answer is farmers. Many farmers are going to lose their lands. Again, if you can't grow crops, you don't have anything to sell. If you don't have anything to sell, you can't pay your bills. So unfortunately, all these environmental events are going to cause farmers to lose their land. All right.
Wait, is all this on 11-2? Section
Yes.
11-2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Let's see. All right, C, large landholders invested in blank and blank, which made it easier to harvest a large crop. And these are the tools we talked about. So plow and reaper. Those are the two answers. Plow and reaper are what we're going to use to help us harvest our crops. All right, we're actually going to skip D. I think D is the only one we're skipping today. So skip D and go to E. This was part of your IDs. What was it we said covers 50 acres of land? These are large farms. What kind of farms are they? I think that was your last ID for that section, maybe.
Bonanza Farms.
Yeah, Bonanza. Bonanza farms are what cover 50,000 acres. Yeah, Bonanza. All right, F. Ooh, this is a good one. All right, F is worded exactly like a quiz question for next week. So pay attention to F. In the 1890s, a glut of wheat on the world market caused prices to drop, and some farmers tried to make it through lean periods. So I'll go ahead and give you your answer. Your answer is mortgaging. They had to mortgage their land. They had to go to the bank and get a mortgage. So they had to mortgage their land so that they had money to kind of help them out for a little bit. Okay. Here's the problem. Here's the word. If you don't know what a glut means a lot. If you ever hear somebody say, oh man, they're being gluttonous, meaning they're eating a lot or whatever. Okay. But a glut of wheat means that there's a lot of wheat out there. And we talked about this the other day. If we said that there's a lot of something, like a lot of extra candy left over after Valentine's Day, right? You got to drop the price to get rid of it. And that's bad, right? If we drop the price, that means our farmers aren't going to make as much money, which means they can't pay their bills, which means they're going to lose their farms. Okay, so that is an actual question on your quiz. What is a glut of wheat? Now you know. Okay. All right, we're on our last couple of questions. G and H, last two. G says in 1890, the Census Bureau reported that, here's your answer, the frontier was closed. Write that down. The frontier was closed. Now, here's what I mean by that, okay? I don't mean that by 1890 we had searched from East Coast to West Coast and settled every square inch in between. I don't mean that. I just mean that we've had so many people go out west that we've pretty much seen all the different territories that are out there, okay? All right, and last but not least, H says, some people believe that the existence of unoccupied land at the frontier had provided a safety net. That's your answer. 2 words, safety net. Safety net. The idea that Americans could always make a fresh start. We talked about, again, think about after the Civil War, African Americans and a lot of other people venturing out west in these unknown territories to start a brand new life. They've got an opportunity to start a brand new life, do a new job, become a rancher, a farmer, a miner. You know, they've got the opportunity to go out and own land. So the frontier offers an opportunity to start a brand new life. You know, if you're not happy with what you got, that's fine. Go try something else. All right, now, if you've got the packet open, the other page we're going to do together, and it won't take us but just a couple of minutes, is the reteaching activity. It should be the very last page. And all it is just a matching activity. And it's a way for us to kind of practice and make sure that we're getting all this information in that we've learned throughout the week. So number, again, if you're doing it on notebook paper, that's fine. Just number 1 through 12. Okay. All right. So let's see how you do. There's a couple I'm going to give you because we hadn't talked about all of them, but let's get started. All right, number 1, you got to tell me, is the answer something that goes with miners and ranchers, farmers, or Native Americans? Those are our 3 categories, okay? So number 1, Chisholm Trail. Who is using the Chisholm Trail to take the Longhorn to the cattle cars. What category are we going to be talking about for the Chisholm Trail? Ian, which one is it? Is it miners and ranchers, farmers, or Native Americans?
I think it's farmers.
For the Texas Longhorn, it's ranchers. I'm sorry. Yeah, a little bit of a trick question, because, and probably what messed you up is if it had said cowboys instead of ranchers, that probably would have been a more clear answer, because it is mostly your cowboys that are taking the Texas Longhorn from the ranches up to the cattle cars through the Chisholm Trail. But number one goes in the category for miners and ranchers. All right, number two, back it all the way up to what we talked about on Tuesday. So nomads, what category would we say are nomads? Isaac?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat that?
Yeah, so what category of people? Is it farmers, ranchers and miners, or Native Americans that are nomads?
Native Americans.
Yeah, so number two is Native Americans. All right, number three, wheat belt. Who's going to be growing wheat? What category do we have? Chris, which one is it?
Farmers.
It is farmers for number three. Excellent, fantastic. Okay, let's keep going. I lost my place. Where am I at? Number four, Dawes Act. And this is one of the ones not to get confused for your quiz next week, okay? The Dawes Act is given 160 acres of land, but to which group? Caitlin, do you know for number four?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so the Dawes Act, it's given 160 acres of land, but is it given it to Native Americans, farmers, or ranchers and miners?
Farmers.
Nope, it's Native Americans. So be careful because you can get it confused. If it's Dawes Act, it's Native Americans. If it's Homestead Act, that one's talking about farmers. So it's easy to get it confused, but just start making yourself a mental note so you're ready for that on the quiz next week. All right, number five, I'm going to give you this one because we haven't talked about it, okay? Number five, no, we talked about five, it's six, never mind. All right, number five is actually from yesterday. The Comstock lode in Virginia City, Nevada is where we find the largest supply of silver. So JD, number five, Comstock lode, what group is that talking about?
Ranchers and miners.
Ranchers and miners for number five, very good. All right, number six is the one I'm going to give you. Number six, Medicine Lodge Creek. We didn't really talk about it. And we didn't talk about it because it's not going to be on your quiz next week, but that one's talking about Native Americans. That's another Native American battle that happens. So Native Americans for number six. Number seven, let's see who was listening because I already gave you the answer for number seven. All right, Homestead Act is given 160 acres of land to who? Riley, who is it?
Farmers.
Yeah, farmers. Very good. Yeah, farmers. Okay, number eight, Wounded Knee Creek. I'm going to help you with this one too. And it's just because I ran out of time on Tuesday. There's so much that I can say about Native Americans. So if you have not yet, and don't tell me because it'll break my heart, but if you have not yet gone into the Chapter 11 instructional videos and watched my video, Go Over Native American History, please do so before next week. But Wounded Knee is the last of the Indian battles. All right. It's going to be on your quiz next week because it talks about the ghost dance is what made Wounded Knee happen because all the soldiers come in to get the Native Americans that are practicing this ritual dance. And this is where Sitting Bull, one of the big Indian chiefs, ends up being shot and killed, is at the Battle of Wounded Knee. So Wounded Knee is Native Americans. Okay, we're in our last four. The cycle of boom and bust. The cycle of boom and bust is talking about what group? Sonny, what group is it? Miners and ranchers, farmers, or Native Americans?
I'd probably say the farmers.
No, the cycle of boom and bust is what am I saying? Miners. Miners. Because remember, boom means they're finding stuff, right? They're finding gold, they're finding silver, and then bust means they've lost all their money, they haven't found anything. They've gone bust. There's nothing there. They're broke. Go home. All right, number 10, Bonanza Farms. The second word kind of gives it away, I think, just a little bit. Jasmine, what category are we talking about with Bonanza Farms?
Farmers.
Farmers, yeah. All right, last two. Texas Longhorn. Who is it that's going to be dealing with the Texas Longhorn, Madison? Which one?
Is it ranchers?
Yes, it is ranchers for number 11. And last but not least, we said Sodbusters is a nickname for this group. I haven't done a good job of keeping up with who I've called on. My bad. Kelsey, what group are we talking about with Sodbusters?
Farmers.
Yeah, farmers. Yeah, Sodbusters is just another nickname for farmers. Okay. All right. Good job, guys. All right. So you're done with your IDs. I encourage you to go ahead and turn those in so you don't forget between now and Friday. All that's left in this packet is reading the story about grabbing the gold. I think there's 3 questions that go with it. And actually, as much as I would love for you to read the story, I understand that some of you probably won't. You'll just read the questions. But we actually talked about the answers for these questions the other day when we talked about mining. So you actually should know the answers to that already. And the other thing is doing a timeline with Native Americans, just writing down 5 different events that happen with Native Americans. You know, Wounded Knee Creek battle happened in 1890. All right, Medicine Lodge Creeks, you know, that's it. Just going through and writing down 5 things that happen with Native Americans. So those 2 activities will take you maybe 5 minutes tops. And I've given you until next Tuesday to get it done. I think you'll be all right. Okay. All right. So between finishing those 2 pages and working on your Wild West project, that's all you've got the next 5 days to work on getting those things done. So I think you all will be okay with that. Has anybody got any questions, comments, concerns, anything before we end for today?
I got a
What
dumb
page?
question.
Okay,
Go ahead,
JD, I think I
Caitlin.
heard you first.
For the states class and quiz, I got like a job that has all the states. Can I use that?
Hold on, you cut out. Say it one more time.
Like I have a poster like that has all the states on it. Can I use that?
No, I want you to do your best. I'm trusting you guys to do it without having a map that you're looking at. That's kind of the point, all right? That's the point. The point is to do it without looking at anything. And that's why I was trying to be nice and not time you, because I'm having faith that you will do it without looking at a map. All right, Caitlin, what was your question?
What pages were those activities on that we had to do in the packet?
Let's see. It's let's see. It's the 4th page. It says timeline activity Native Americans. It's the 4th and 5th page. The 5th page says grabbing the gold. It's just a story and a couple of questions.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was just making sure so I could be able to do it and not do the wrong page.
No, you're good. You're good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got for you for today. If you need me, throw me a email, remind message, Google comment, whatever. And if not, then have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. Remember, no Zoom tomorrow. Just do your map test, okay? All right. Bye, guys.